First of all, everybody on the call, thank you for your time. And I first wanted to lay out that obviously this is a very sad time and a difficult time. Also, when Kevin, I'm going to go a little bit beyond your question, but I'll answer your questions right now. In a project that started 2 years ago with Guillermo, with a lot of things that can be seen as positives last year, we haven't been able to capitalize this year. With the goals being set out in the beginning of the year, we ended up a point that this is obviously a very sad day. It doesn't take away responsibility from everybody, nor my responsibility. And that's at least the opening remarks that I wanted to say, Kevin, if you don't mind. In case of Dominic, I think we'll take it step by step, which I think in this year is the most sensitive thing we can do and what we've learned. And let's work as an organization, as a family, and as a group. We'll work together to Sunday's game, and we'll take it step by step before drawing any conclusions on candidacy or how we go forward.
Thank you. We'll go next to a question from Jeff Carlisle. Jeff, go ahead.
Hi, Dennis. In terms of how this roster was put together, I mean, obviously you guys have had a lot of problems on the defensive side of the ball. Are we looking at a complete makeover on that side of things, or what are your plans in terms of just rebuilding this roster in the offseason?
Well, that's also a little bit in the same direction as Kevin's question. At the moment, with the roster freeze and obviously the challenges internationally and nationally to bring in players under quarantine rules, we'd like to focus on the upcoming games, support Dom and everybody around the team, the players, as much as possible, to make it 3 highly positive games and something that our fan base and everybody within the organization can be proud of. And then we'll assess and evaluate any steps forward. And like you said, there's no secret that defensively we haven't been able to perform. But sometimes it's not only on defenders. It depends also on other things and goes into a way of how you style up your team also and prepare tactically.
Just as a follow-up, has your sense of what works in this league, what players work in this league, changed at all in the last 2 years?
Well, first of all, I think the league in the last few years, and you see it in a lot of teams, has evolved enormously. And the competitiveness and the players that come in, the preparation of young players and the investment that most of the teams have done in young players and youth academies in the last years, you see little by little that it's paying off. And that makes it a high competitive league with more and more teams, with obviously players that show themselves in a positive way. And I need to be respectful and obviously be responsible and correct in my comments that on our way we haven't performed up to standing.
Thanks. We're going to go next to a question from Damian Calhoun. Damian, go ahead.
Hey, Dennis.
Hello, Damian.
In your eyes, why do you think things never really worked this year? And also, why make the move now? 3 games left. Why not let it play out the rest of the year? Or why do you see the need to do the change now instead of wait?
Yeah, well, I'll start with your last question. I think, first of all, that it is very challenging to find the right moment, and out of respect and circumstances and everything that we're going through, our intent was to support and to surround Guillermo with the best possible tools for him to perform. And I must say that how we ended up this year after our first year ending up in the playoffs, winning our game in the playoffs, obviously with a great individual performance of certain players, and one of them obviously Zlatan. The idea and the goals of the organization and of the club were to capitalize on that this year with younger players that had a little bit more experience, with more players according to the likes and the style of Guillermo. And as you've seen, and we've started off the beginning of the year very rough in Houston with a difficult game, but still get a result. Then it was a disappointing game at home, and then like everybody knows, and there's no even being close to an excuse. The pandemic hit, and then we've been up and down as a roller coaster.
Thanks. We're going to go next to a question from Megan Riza. Megan, go ahead.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi, Megan.
This is a club that obviously has a different standard than the rest of the MLS. What do you hope that this change communicates to this fan base at this time?
Well, the difficulty is, and goes a little bit with the last question, is the timing or anything. And I don't think, first of all, there's a good time for something like this ever. I do think that the message is that this club takes high pride in their fans, what they expect from the team. We're very, very aware of the underperformance of this year so far, with a clear sense of responsibility. As I also stated last night in the halftime talk during our game, with too many games that obviously don't represent what the fans expect from us, and a sad day, to be honest, to end this relation, and hopefully we end up on a note that at least the upcoming games fans see pride and see the fighting spirit that as a minimum requirement should be in our team.
Dom has obviously been in this position before for this club. What gave you the confidence about him to step into this position at this time, and have any decisions been made about who will join him with his coaching staff?
There's not been any decisions made on the coaching staff. That's where we're going to decide in the afternoon and speak to Dom and give him obviously support and authority on that. And yeah, that is basically what it is. Sorry again, Megan, the other question was, the first one?
Just what gives you confidence about
Yeah.
Dom stepping into this role at this time?
Yeah, I think at the moment with such a short time spent to turn things over, to even achieve something, play again on Sunday, I think he's close to the players group. The players really and truly respect him as a highly qualified manager in this league, and with full knowledge of the entire group and the authority to take his best decisions in the upcoming 3 games.
Thanks. We'll go next to a question from Joe Reedy. Joe?
Dennis, just listening to your conversation last night with ESPN, was there a point when you had considered getting rid of Guillermo? I mean, has this been in the works for a couple weeks, or just the recent results of the past couple games?
Well, I do think, like anybody in our organization, we're always under constant evaluation. There's no secret about anything, and if the results are not good, and then the results haven't been good or even close to being good, that's obviously of a worry. And I want to be very respectful to a highly recognized manager as Guillermo, who had great results at both Lanús in Argentina and great results at Boca Juniors, which is an enormous club in Argentina. And as a former player, having reached the highest possible in this league. So I think the think process and the time has been obviously to give as much support and give as much opportunities as possible. But at some point it is difficult, and it sounds as a cliche, but then the results obviously are part of an evaluation.
And then just what is Javier's future with the club? I know you shot down rumors last night of a transfer to Chivas, but do you envision him being with this team next year?
Well, I think Javier, obviously, in this year, with all the excitement at the beginning of the year, both from his side, from our side, and from everybody responsible within this club, we haven't been able to connect him to his full potential. Now, obviously, with the challenges that we've gone through the entire year, it made it a very challenging year. His personal challenges obviously didn't help at all, and now we ended up in a situation that we have to go forward and we have to look forward also in first of all representing the club in our best way possible, including Javier, and any decisions and anything that goes forward. I think in its time we'll assess it in the right way.
We have time for one more question in English. We're going to go to Felipe Cardenas. Felipe, go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, Dennis. My question, I guess, is what is your expectation, I guess, for the LA Galaxy's playing philosophy moving forward? What would you like that to be, and how would that, I guess, mesh with the current roster and the roster you intend to build once this new coach is in place? That's my first question. My second question is, considering what you've said about the roster build and the expectations that were not fulfilled, do you believe that Guillermo was able to maximize the talent on the roster?
Well, I'll leave it up because sometimes when you're in an organization and you're close to the team and you're close to the coaching staff and you're close to everyday activities, sometimes you need evaluation, taking a step back, and you need a little bit of room in between what you're actually going to go doing forward and the current moment. So I think that's for us the best thing to do, to take a little bit of a step back. Don't judge or anticipate or anything that at this moment is not the right moment on a truly sad day of ending Guillermo's coaching responsibilities here. So anything going forward about players or how we evaluate it, I think that there's more than enough time to discuss that. I must say the expectations in the beginning of the year on building on what we've tried to achieve last year and having goals and going into the playoffs and going obviously beyond the expectations of last year, they were very solid, and we've tried and with the support of the ownership create as much as possible possibilities of quality players for the coaching staff to take advantage of. Now, if based on names and anything that is on the roster, do we deserve to be in last place or do we deserve to be in first place? I don't think that is the right conclusion at the moment. I don't think that we should be in last place, but I also realize that we are in last place. So there is a responsibility to that, and we have to go forward in a way that obviously is not acceptable.
And then on the playing philosophy, could you touch on that? What would you like the LA Galaxy's football model to be moving forward?
Well, it has to do obviously with the culture of the league and the players that we have. I do think that with the players that are on our roster and where most of our qualities are obviously going forward and playing a style that excites our fans and with players such as Christian Pavon, Joni, and with the intention of Javier being part of that, also with Jonathan, Sebastian, and it would be unfair to leave anybody out of the conversation, but obviously an offensive style is desired. Now, how you set it up tactically, where you recover the ball, what do you do with the ball when the ball turns over, where you position yourself when you lose the ball, those are all things that obviously a coach needs to make a decision and has also its freedom. And but there is an idea that obviously our team needs to show energy, needs to show dynamics. We have young players that can do that, and we have quality players such as the players that we mentioned to play a style that could be considered as balanced but mostly offensive.
Thanks, Dennis. We're going to move into questions and answers in Spanish now. We'll go first to a question from Katia Castorena. Katia, go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. ¿Qué tal, Dennis? Gusto saludarte. Hablabas el tema Chicharito, entendiendo que, como dices, hay una responsabilidad por parte de todos, pero entendiendo que hay esa expectativa, que llegó como la figura, el peso que tiene contractualmente, económicamente. ¿Qué tanta responsabilidad también hay por ese lado por parte de Javier de no haber visto aún su máximo potencial y si se ha lastimado la relación entre el delantero y el club de alguna manera? Decías que la intención es que permanezca y esté dentro de ese plan a futuro.
Pues gracias, Katia, por la pregunta. La verdad sería muy poco correcto y muy en un muy mal momento del club, tirando culpas o apuntando si alguien tiene que ver o lo que tenía que haber pasado. Yo creo que en estos momentos cuando sean negativos hay que ser responsables, hay que tomar responsabilidad y autonomía en las decisiones y obviamente seguir para adelante. Y en donde hay un mal momento todos tenemos un grado de culpabilidad.
Mencionabas que no te gustó la actitud que a veces se veía de los jugadores en la cancha y que no representaba lo que este club significa. ¿Qué tanto crees eso era parte del planteamiento, el manejo del grupo, el cuerpo técnico que llevó a que se tomara la decisión?
No, en ningún momento le dije que algo no me gustaba de la actitud de los jugadores, Katia. En este momento lo que traté de explicar en inglés es que lo que a mí me gustaría que muestran. Esto no significa que no lo han mostrado y que en un momento. Creo que de hecho en muchas ocasiones, aunque los resultados han sido adversos, el equipo mostró muchísimo solidaridad y muchísimo esfuerzo y una gran voluntad para conseguir los resultados. Nada más al final de cuentas los resultados no nos han dado y llega a esta decisión.
Thanks. We're going to go next to a question from Daniel Schwartzman. Daniel, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Denis, ¿qué perfil están buscando para el próximo técnico? Y la otra, mucha parte de la afición pues, no ha estado conforme con el rendimiento de Javier. ¿Qué mensaje le puedes dar a la afición, ¿no? Que está ávida de ver a Javier, que no ha sido lo que esperaban?
No, claro, yo creo que primeramente el mensaje a la afición lo tenemos por seguro que Javier se los va a dar y les va a recuperar y esperamos que recupere la confianza con ellos pronto, en base de su esfuerzo, en base de su calidad. No nos olvidamos que en tantos años lo que ha logrado en diferentes clubes y para su selección. Entonces yo creo que nosotros apoyarle en eso, respaldarle en eso y obviamente siendo muy autocrítico en lo que vamos a hacer, creo que es la mejor forma de tomar decisiones, Daniel.
Thanks. We'll go next to a question from John Rojas. John, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Denis, gracias por el tiempo. En el comunicado se asegura que se releva a Guillermo, ¿no? Si traduzco bien del inglés al español. Eso quiere decir básicamente que no hay un mutuo acuerdo. Hay un técnico que tiene un contrato por un año más, eso se sabía desde el principio. En ese sentido, ¿cómo queda el Galaxy? Es decir, el Galaxy tiene que hacerse responsable de lo que el contrato implique, o cómo se terminó esa relación en ese sentido.
Mira, lo que puedo decir es que obviamente Guillermo en este momento, más que nos duele y con toda la tristeza que tenemos y el respeto que tenemos para él, deja de ser el técnico. Temas contractuales no platicamos y menos en público. Entonces, el entrenador interino es Dominic Kenir y no creo que en el comunicado de prensa se pueda sacar otra conclusión de eso.
Sí. Ahora la última de mi parte, que no esté Guillermo, que no esté este cuerpo técnico, daña en algún momento la posibilidad de que Cristian se quede? ¿Es una decisión que ya tiene su propio camino? ¿Cómo se aplica allí esta decisión?
¿Te refieres a Cristian Pavón?
Sí, sí, sí.
En el caso de Cristian Pavón, hemos visto que hasta en las adversidades este año es un jugador muy destacado. Tenemos una muy buena relación y una relación abierta de comunicación con su equipo, que es Boca Juniors, y literalmente el hecho de que lamentablemente nos deja de guiar en la cancha Guillermo no tiene nada que ver con el deseo del club de Cristian Pavón.
Thanks. We'll go next to a question from Hector Cantú. Hector?
Hola Denis, ¿cómo estás?
Hola Héctor.
Un gusto saludarte. Ya preguntaban hace rato acerca del proyecto y de cuál era el perfil más o menos del próximo técnico. ¿Tienen ya algún técnico mexicano al que pudiera ocupar ese perfil, digamos, que ustedes están pensando para el próximo técnico del equipo?
No, para empezar el torneo aún ni siquiera ha terminado. En definir un perfil del técnico, una evaluación, sus características, tenemos que tomar un par de pasos atrás. ¿Cuál es la identidad del club? ¿Cómo quieres que el club se perfila? ¿Y qué esperamos de un siguiente técnico para llevar todo a cabo y a buen puerto? Entonces, más allá de la necesidad, más allá de obviamente de la responsabilidad y la oportunidad de mostrar a nuestra afición, que es lo que nos importa mucho, que tenemos que tomar una buena decisión, bien meditada, con obviamente poco margen de error. Vamos a tomar el tiempo para hacerlo. Nos faltan 3 partidos en esta temporada que van a ser guiados por Dominic Kenir, que es una persona sumamente experimentada, dentro de los 4 técnicos más ganadores en la liga, por lo que vi, y en una estadística. Y la verdad, queremos mostrar a la afición más que nada, y más que cualquier resultado, que realmente nos importa la camisa, nos importa su sentir y nos importa su preocupación del compromiso que tenemos hacia su club, que tanto lo quieran y que necesitamos defender más que nada, antes de dar pasos siguientes. Obviamente entiendo que en las próximas semanas entrarían muchos rumores, pero vamos a tomar todo el tiempo que sea necesario para tomar la decisión mejor que define el club.
Y lo preguntaba Denis, nada más para agregarlo, porque ha sonado mucho en los últimos días el nombre del Vasco Aguirre.
Pues rumores, como hay muchos rumores sobre jugadores, sobre técnicos. Mientras que sean rumores, no hay nada firme. Cuando hay algo firme, pues se los comunicamos. Pero el proceso de llegar a un técnico es de calificar de la mejor forma, internamente definir cuáles son las características, cómo nos queremos perfilar, cuál es nuestro estilo, cuál es nuestra identidad. Y hemos dado pasos muy grandes en los últimos 2 años adelante, pero hay que capitalizarlos y hay que ser, obviamente, consciente que en este momento no estamos en un buen momento.
Thanks. We have time for just one more question in Spanish. We're going to go to our final question with Fernando Schwartz. Fernando, go ahead.
Muchas gracias, Chris. Gusto en saludarte, Denis. Denis, ¿a qué apunta el equipo del Galaxy para el plan futuro? ¿Un técnico que conozca la MLS o traer una contratación bomba también como director técnico? Porque el Galaxy siempre ha apostado por técnicos de reconocida capacidad internacional, y por el otro lado, lo que tú mencionas, Dominique Iñar es de los más ganadores en la MLS. ¿Hay la posibilidad, si que en estos 3 partidos se ve algún cambio, que decidas continuar con él para la próxima temporada?
Pues yo creo que estos 3 partidos son importantes más que nada a mostrar a la gente que tanto quieren al Galaxy que toda la familia del Galaxy aquí estamos comprometidos con ellos y que realmente necesitamos ser autocríticos, que necesitamos analizar, necesitamos evaluar y necesitamos obviamente mejorar en muchísimos aspectos. Este va de la mano en la elección del siguiente técnico, pero creo que es en este momento, por todo lo que ha pasado un poco recién, para poder dar una respuesta más allá de que vamos a tomar el tiempo y vamos a tomar la mejor decisión posible para el bien del club y acompañado por, obviamente, diferentes personas adentro del club que podrían ver cuál es el futuro guía del mejor equipo aquí en Estados Unidos que pretendemos ser.
Dennis, thank you for taking the time to speak with the media today. That's all we have. We appreciate it, and we appreciate everyone joining the call today. We will send around a video of today's media availability and follow up with an advisory on the time that we will have Dominic Kinnear speak with the media in advance of Sunday's game. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate your time and hope you have a great rest of the afternoon.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you for your interest in obviously in a difficult day as today, and hope to see you soon in better and more positive moments. Thank you.